Shalom, shalom, shalom. I pray that you all are doing well. I've been thinking the past few weeks, been going through some things, been I will say like a rough season. Usually a lot of my growth happens during these rough seasons, and I start to understand things about myself in a way that forces me, even as a mental health counselor, to try to find a way to convey it effectively to help someone else down the road, or even just to help myself out later on. So, something that's on my mind today, there are 4 cycles of life that we all tend to go through at any given time, you know, or you can say 4 seasons, essentially. We are either thriving, surviving, struggling, or in crisis. And I just want to take a moment to break down each cycle, each season, see if it resonates with you all, and hopefully it helps you the way it has blessed me and helped me as well. So when you're in crisis, a lot of that is having a mindset of I can't survive this or I can't get through this. So what are some symptoms, or what are some ways to identify you are in crisis? Disabling distress and loss of function, panic attacks, nightmares or flashbacks, unable to fall or stay asleep, intrusive thoughts, thoughts of self-harm or suicide, which is considered suicidal ideologies or ideations, easily enraged or aggressive, careless mistakes and an inability to focus, feeling numb, lost, or out of control, withdrawal from relationships, so isolating yourself, distancing yourself, and also dependence on substances, food, or other numbing or unhealthy activities to cope. So that would be something that would let you know if you're in crisis, right? So what about if you're struggling? Struggling is I can't keep this up, right? You're battling, you're struggling. You're not telling yourself that I can't survive this, but you're saying, I don't know how much longer I can go, right? So what are some signs of that? Persistent fear, panic, anxiety, anger, pervasive sadness, hopelessness, exhaustion, poor performance and difficulty making decisions or concentrating, avoiding interaction with coworkers, family, and friends, fatigue, aches and pains, restless, disturbed sleep, self-medicating with substances, food, or other numbing or unhealthy activities. So these are signs or symptoms or ways to identify if you are in a struggling season. The next season would be surviving. So you say to yourself, something just isn't right, or I feel off right now. Like, these are some things that you would be saying to yourself or thinking. So how can you tell if you're just surviving? Nervousness, sadness, increased mood fluctuations, inconsistent performance, more easily overwhelmed or irritated or triggered, increased need for control and difficulty adjusting to changes, trouble sleeping or eating, activities and relationships you used to enjoy seem less interesting or even stressful. And then you can also have muscle tension, low energy, and even headaches. So if you've noticed, all these different seasons, cycles, stages, phases of life, they can affect you mentally, emotionally, physically, relationally, and even financially, because poor performance can be tied to those of us who work or have businesses or things of that nature. Or if you're younger, it can affect your academic performance, so like in school, or if you're in a trade or things of that nature. So what about when you're thriving, right? When you're thriving, that's when you're saying, I got this. Like, everything is flowing the way it needs to flow. I guess we can say life is lifing on the good side of things, right? I used to say we need to go from surviving to thriving, right? If you've been in survival mode your whole life, there's just certain things that going to keep coming up. But when you start to thrive, that's when you overcome all challenges, all barriers. You're more than a conqueror. You're starting to accomplish things despite lifing. So what are some signs, some symptoms some ways to identify that you are thriving. Calm and steady with minor mood fluctuations. So it's normal for our mood to sometimes go up and down, but we're not talking full blunt or full blown mood swings or where you're just one way and then another way. Like, we all going to have stress in life. Stress is normal. Stress is normal. We need to learn how to manage our stress and control our emotions. So some other signs: able to take things in stride, consistent performance, able to take feedback and adjust to changes of plans, able to focus, able to communicate effectively, and normal sleep patterns and appetite. So I briefly want to break down these four phases, seasons, stages of life that we all seem to cycle through. We go from being in crisis to struggling to surviving to thriving, or we can go from thriving to surviving to struggling to in crisis. You can be in survival mode for such a long time that you don't know anything different. You have a moment where you're just thriving. You feel like everything is going great in your life. Like, I sometimes equate it to the 4 stages or 4 seasons that you need to experience in relationships. You need to experience someone when they're happy, when they're sad, when they're stressed, and when they're angry. So I always try to equate life and mental health things to practicality, because we all need to improve our mental health. No one's truly not going to be affected mentally, emotionally, physically, or financially in this life. However, we need to do the best we can to be proactive about these things instead of reactive. The best way that I know how is by educating myself and by seeking knowledge, by making sure I understand, but then having the wisdom to apply what I know and what I understand. So hopefully this helps. Just want to quickly break down these 4 seasons of life that we all tend to go through, what it looks like when you're going through it, and to be honest, how you overcome. Be honest with yourself. Make sure that you learn how to effectively communicate what is going on in your life. Hopefully you have a spouse, some family, a support system, a therapist, counselor, pastor. Find someone that you can confide in and vent to, but the work starts with you first. A lot of it has to be, we have a desire to overcome, we have a desire to endure, we have a desire to get better and grow no matter what. But you first and foremost need to acknowledge it. So what is acknowledging it? Being aware. Next thing you have to do is you have to accept what you're going through or how you're feeling or how you're thinking or what has happened to you. And then you address it. How do you address it? That's how you deal with it. That's how you process it. So you become aware, then you accept it as reality, and then you address it. So that way you can move forward with your life, handle it accordingly. So hopefully this helps. Hopefully this is a blessing to you all. Other than that, I hope that you thrive. I hope that you will thrive. I hope that you will start to thrive. Shalom.